Good morning. You're watching DD News and I'm Preeti presenting Breakfast Show this morning. It's the first morning of the week and in the next 1 hour we'll take you through everything that's making it to the headlines. First we'll get to the top stories we're tracking this hour. India to host 14th Conference of Parties to the United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification starting from today. Representatives from 196 nations to attend the conference. India pledges to restore 50 lakh hectares of degraded land by 2030. Chandrayaan2 all set for separation from Vikram lander today as the final and the fifth lunar-bound orbit maneuver is performed successfully ahead of the landing on lunar surface on 7th September. Pakistan says it will offer consular access to Kulbhushan Jadhav today in line with Vienna Convention on Consular Relations and the ICJ judgment. Hurricane Dorian makes landfall in northwest Bahamas as a monster Category 5 storm with sustained winds of up to 180 miles per hour. U.S. National Hurricane Center, that is the NHC, says extremely dangerous storm is the strongest hurricane on modern record in the area. In sports, India sets a target of 468 runs for West Indies in the Kingston Test. In response, the West Indies score 45 runs for 2 wickets till the end of the third day's play. India declared their second innings at 168 for 4 wickets. Asian Games gold medalist Jinson Johnson betters his own 1500 meters national record by clinching a silver in the ISTAF Berlin event. Johnson clocks 3 minutes 35.24 seconds to finish second behind Joshua Thompson of United States in Berlin. And Ganesh Chaturthi being celebrated today with traditional fervour and gaiety. President Ramnath Kovind and Vice President Chandrayaan2 greet the nation on the festive occasion. All right, those were the top stories. Up next, we'll get you the news in detail. India will host the 14th Conference of Parties, or COP14 as we call it, of the United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification. The event expects more than 3,000 participants from across the world from 2nd of September in Greater Noida near Delhi. Take a look.
In order to fight the menace of desertification, India, for the first time, will host the UN Convention to Combat Desertification, or UNCCD, from 2nd of September in Greater Noida. The participants include ministers from 196 countries, representatives of national and local government, city leaders, community groups, scientists, non-governmental organizations, the private sector and the industry experts, and they will present and share their expertise and give an overview to achieve the goals at the 12-day conference. Desertification is a worldwide problem directly affecting 250 million people and a third of the Earth's land surface. To fight this menace, India will convert degraded land of nearly 50 lakh hectares to fertile land in the next 10 years. UNCCD, established in 1994, is the sole legally binding international agreement that links environment and development to sustainable land management. It addresses specifically arid, semi-arid and dry subhumid areas known as dry lands, home to some of the most vulnerable ecosystems and peoples. The main agenda for COP14 are reversing land degradation and its outcomes while accelerating positive achievements for people and for ecosystem with a view to deliver on the United Nations mandated Sustainable Development Goals. Land degradation working in tandem with the climate change and biodiversity laws may force up to 700 million people to migrate by 2050. 1/3 of world's land and some 4 billion hectares is degraded. In India, degradation has hit 96 million hectares, around 29.32% of all land in the country. Almost all the countries have signed a pledge to reach net land degradation neutrality by 2030. That means they have promised to restore as much land as is being degraded. With India succeeding China to the COP presidency, experts expect a flip to the process of combating desertification in Asia. Tapash Bhattacharya's report, DD News, Delhi.
All right, Tapas Bhattacharya is joining us on phone line to get us more on that. Tapas, a very important conference, COP14, is to begin from today until extend till 13th of September. In your report, you've given a broad outline of what all is to be tackled. But then, as a global forum, how important is this COP14?
Yeah, absolutely, Priti, you're bang on there. It is a very important forum. It is a forum where all the countries, almost 200 countries, will come together to find a solution to the problem of land degradation as well as desertification. Remember, it is a problem that most of the countries in the world are facing, but for India, this is an existential crisis because as of now, India, being the 7th largest country of the world, and having 70% of its total geographic area under that dry land, and almost 30% of its land is currently affected by land degradation. So that's a huge number, and also 2.5% of the the global area, land area, with 18% of the world human population living in the country. So these are some of the things that affect the country more than some other countries. So if your 30% of the area is land degraded area, it's a dry land area, the idea is to make sure that by 2030, India is making sure that they achieve land neutrality, and that is something that they are very keen to achieve. Already, we have seen that the government has made sure in the last 5 years that they have increased the forest area cover. There is a point that that almost all the programs and the mission that the government has launched, including the Jal Shakti and the soil, finding out the correct soil. These are certain things that the government is expected to go on in a massive manner, in a way to make sure that by the 2030 these land net neutrality can be achieved. By land net neutrality, we mean that the area which has already been lost by the land degradation and desertification can once again be converted into arable land. So those are some of the broad area that most of the countries are looking at, and with the high profile this conference, one hopes that these countries will come out with a broader consensus how to achieve this. Remember, most of the countries are on a development path. So the countries will be looking to have a sustainable development goal, and in order to achieve that, UNCCD's this convention will have a major impact. Pretty.
All right, Tapas, let's talk of participation of India here. Now, India in 2015 had voluntarily committed to restore 13 million hectares of its degraded land. But when we talk of the target which has been upgraded, and that amounts to 30 million hectares of land. Now, let us talk about how crucial is the participation of our country in the conference.
It's absolutely very crucial. This is the as I said, India not just is participating, India is in fact going to be the leading this convention. They are hosting the convention, and for the next 2 years, they will be presiding over the COP session. So whatever decision that have been taken will be taken under the leadership of the country. And already, as I said, the Ministry of Jal Shakti has recently launched the Jal Shakti Abhiyan, which is a time-bound mission mode water conservation campaign to achieve land degradation neutrality. There is a major thrust given to renewable energy, low carbon transmission. The idea is to make sure that by 40% of the total electricity generation capacity is achieved through what you call other means of production apart from the one which we are right now having. We are right now quite reliant on coal-based energy. So the idea is to make sure that is reduced to its minimum position. Also, as you have already mentioned, that the country has expected that the minister Prakash Javadekar has already quite emphatically mentioned the fact that quite large in number of area. In fact, they will like to have a land neutrality by 2030. So these are certain things that the countries, all the 197 participating countries, will be hoping that they can get a broader consensus. See, remember, this is a lot of developed countries want to push for a certain stringent measures, but there are countries which are third world countries, developing countries, who do not have the means or the necessary resources to go ahead with that. So the idea is to find a middle path.
A middle path, right?
Yes, the idea is to have a balance between environment as well as development. So that is something that this convention will be all about. Preeti.
All right. So India there aims to restore 50 lakh hectares of land by 2030 is the revised target there, and that will be tackled also when we talk of the COP 14, which has begun from today onwards, and it will continue till 30th of September. Thank you so much, Tapas, for joining us with those details. Let's talk of other news. The orbiter of Chandrayaan-2 has successfully reached its final orbit around the moon following an orbit reduction maneuver. A release from the National Space Agency ISRO says the burn of the engine on board the orbiter has been initiated. All the spacecraft parameters were observed to be normal. The lander of Chandrayaan-2, named Vikram, will separate from the orbiter on Monday at an optimal time between 12:45 p.m. to 1:45 p.m. The lander has been named after the father of India's space program, Dr. Vikram Sarabhai. The lander, under the impact of the initial speed, will also begin to revolve around the moon at first, with gradually decreasing the radius. Pakistan has said that they would offer consular access to Kulbhushan Jadhav, a former naval officer who has been sentenced to death by a court alleged for espionage and terrorism. A tweet from Pakistan's Foreign Office said that India will be given consular access to him on Monday in line with Vienna Convention and for the consular relations, ICG judgment and the laws of Pakistan. Now, this is the first time that 49-year-old Kulbhushan Jadhav, sentenced to death by a Pakistani military court in April 2017, will be given consular access. After repeated requests to Islamabad, India flagged the matter to the International Court of Justice in The Hague, which was also hearing New Delhi's appeal for cancellation of his death sentence. Amrit Pal is joining us on phone line to get us more on that. Amrit, this is the second time that the consular access has been given to India, but earlier it was rejected on grounds that a Pakistani official was to be present at the time of the access. Now, let us know this time about the conditions and the terms and conditions, because the tweet says, in line with Vienna Convention on Consular Relations, ICT judgment and the laws of Pakistan. Tell us more about it.
You're right. This is the second time Pakistan has offered. The earlier, as you said, last time on August 1st, July 18th, the International Court of Justice in Hague delivered its judgment. They said grant them consular access without further delay. 2 weeks after that, on the 1st of August, Pakistan came up with the offer. At 3 p.m. on 2nd August, the access was supposed to be granted, but India objected, saying that it has to be unhindered access and in an atmosphere free of any reprisal and intimidation. What we learn is that basically Pakistan had insisted that there will be a security agent of the Pakistani security personnel present during that meeting with Indian diplomats, and also CCTV cameras would be there. India objected to it. Then the two sides were talking. What we know right now is that they've, offered access again. What I know is what you know from the tweet, in line with the Vienna Convention on Consular Relations, ICJ judgment and the laws of Pakistan. Now we've asked the Ministry of External Affairs for their response. They haven't responded officially. Sources tell us that they're studying the offer. So we'll have to see if it's an unhindered access, as India demanded, then the meeting could take place. If not, then India's objections would stand. All
right, Amrit, thank you so much for joining us with those details. An army jawan was martyred on Sunday as Pakistan violated ceasefire by resorting to mortar shelling and small arms firing on forward posts and villages along the line of control in Poonch district of Jammu and Kashmir. The soldier manning a forward post was martyred in the firing from across the border in Shahpur Karni area of Poonch sector. The Ministry of External Affairs has responded to some commentaries in sections of foreign media on updation of the NRC in Assam. In a press statement, MEA spokesperson Ravish Kumar said that updation of NRC is a statutory, transparent and legal process mandated by the Supreme Court, and it's not an executive-driven process. He also explained how it is a non-discriminatory process.
There have been some commentaries in sections of the foreign media about aspects of the final NRC which are incorrect. NRC is a fair process based on scientific methods. Inclusion in the NRC is a unique process as it is based on application rather than house-to-house enumeration. It is a non-discriminatory process which leaves no room for bias and injustice, as can be seen from the application form for data entry in NRC. There was no column in the application asking for the religion of the applicant.
Also, the MEA further said that exclusion from the NRC does not render one stateless till all options of remedy are exhausted.
Exclusion from the NRC has no implication on the rights of an individual resident in Assam. For those who are not in the final list will not be detained and will continue to enjoy all the rights as before till they have exhausted all the remedies available under the law. It does not make the excluded person stateless. It also does not make him or her a foreigner within the legal meaning of the term. They will not be deprived of any rights or entitlements which they have enjoyed before.
Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh has arrived in Tokyo for a bilateral visit. As part of his visit to Japan, he is going to chair the annual Defence Ministerial Dialogue with his counterpart, Mr. Takeshi Iwawa, also Minister of Defence for Japan. The ministerial dialogue will aim to further strengthen India-Japan special strategic and global partnership and include wide-ranging discussions to enhance the bilateral defence and security engagements between the two countries. All right, Vishal Baristo is joining us from Srinagar on the ground situation in the valley. Vishal, we've been regularly showing reports of how normalcy is returning to the valley. Let us know more about the current situation in the valley, Vishal.
Well, a very good morning to you, Preeti. I've just landed in the valley yesterday and I've visited a few places, and the situation is gradually turning to normal. And quoting the DGP Dilbagh saying that the connectivity is being restored, and after a positive response from Handwara and Kupwara, where people have responded very positively to the mobile connectivity, the administration is thinking about restoring mobile connectivity in other parts of the area as well. And let me tell you that Dilbagh Singh has also said that 29 exchanges have also been put back to normal condition, and that takes the tally to 76. So the connectivity is not going to be an issue as far as the talking to people here in the valley is concerned. And the government is also very much serious about fast turning the situation into a very positive thing. The government is pushing for 4 national projects which have not yet been completed, and they have been there for a very long time, and that includes the Kashmir Railway and also the 4-laning of the Srinagar and Jammu Highway. So people are responding, and responding positively. Yesterday I had gone to the Dal Lake area. I had also done some shopping. The shops of essential commodities like medicines, milk and other essential commodities, they are all open and people are coming out on the streets. It is all calm and peaceful here, but yes, under the watchful eye of the armed forces.
All right, Vishal, also we know that this positivity is stemming up from the efforts which have been put in by the government after the abrogation of Article 370 there. When you're talking of the positivity in the people also there, tell us more about that. With schools opening and with people going to offices, life is limping back to normalcy there. And also, let's talk about this positivity which you indeed are talking about. The people there, how well has the efforts of the government been taken by the people in the valley? Vishal?
The people of Kashmir, when we talk about the valley, now they all want peace, they all want development, and they have been saying that over the period, different governments, they have cheated them, they have not responded to what they have expected. Now they really expect that the Prime Minister would walk his words as he is known for, and after the abrogation of Article 370, all the government projects as far as the reservation in government jobs is concerned and all the central schemes would be implemented in toto, which have not been so far. And yesterday when I was moving around, I could see smiles on the faces of the people. They were playing on the streets. Some of them, they were enjoying carom. And it was all, you know, as if there is no tension here. And people are responding very positively. And the government is also treading very cautiously. Though we have armed forces all over, but they are not interfering in the normal lives of the people. And this is a very positive approach by the government and also by the armed forces and also the police forces, because they are there to maintain law and order but not interfering in the normal lives of the people. So the people are responding very well, and the expectations are very high, Preeti, because now people are expecting that the development process should take to new high and also should catch up some speed, and that is what they are telling us, that now we want all the central schemes to be implemented in the state. They want development, they want education, and also after the governor saying that the 50,000 central jobs jobs in the state would, I beg your pardon, the jobs in the state would be filled. So they are all looking forward to it, and they are all expecting a lot from the government. So let's say we have to wait for some more time, because it's a gradual process, it's a continuous process, and we have to wait and watch over that.
All right, Vishal, thank you so much for joining us with those inputs. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate a new Gujarat Bhavan building in New Delhi today. The new Gujarat Bhavan will be called Garvi Gujarat Bhavan, and it has been built over 7,066 square meter plot on Akbar Road. Foundation stone for this facility was laid in September 2017. The building has 19 suite rooms, 59 other rooms, conference hall, library, yoga center, restaurant, dining hall, gymnasium, multi-purpose hall and other facilities. Total cost of this complex is Rs 131 crore. A cultural event will be organized at Vigyan Bhavan to showcase the state's cultural heritage. And the festival of Ganesh Chaturthi is being celebrated across the country with great devotion today. The day marks the birth of Lord Ganesha, who is a symbol of wisdom, prosperity and good fortune. People place clay idols of Lord Ganesha in their homes and worship them during the 10-day-long festival. Ganesh Chaturthi is a major attraction in Maharashtra, where people celebrate it with great zeal. President Ramnath Kovind and Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu have greeted people on the occasion. In their messages, President Kovind and Vice President Venkaiah Naidu said that the festival of Ganesh Chaturthi represents the values and goals that we must imbibe to achieve national development and welfare for all sections of the society. Prime Minister Narendra Modi in a tweet wished the citizens a blessed Ganesh Chaturthi. All right, Shishir is joining us from Lal Bagh in Mumbai on phone lines. Shishir, The Ganesh Chaturthi celebrations are very famous of Maharashtra. Take us through the celebrations, take us through what all marks it special today.
Well, absolutely. The 10-day long Ganesh Chaturthi festival starts from today, and probably in every household almost in Maharashtra, and especially the Sarvajanik Pandal, have already installed the Ganesh Murti, the Ganesh idols here at their places here. And since morning we have seen here that the people just coming in large queue basically to take a darshan of their beloved Ganpati Bappa. Well, this kind of situation you can see everywhere in Mumbai basically, because it's quite an important festival for Mumbai and especially in the state of Maharashtra. And that's the reason various arrangements have also been done here. If talking about Mumbai only, there are nearly thousands of Sarvajanik Pandal who have installed Ganesh idol here. And apart from their household Ganpati also have been installed at almost many places in Mumbai and Maharashtra. And that's the reason from today we can see a festive season probably everywhere in Mumbai. When talking about Mumbai especially, there are important Sarvajanik Ganesha Mandal. If you name it, then Lal Bagh Se Raja, GSB, Ganpati Utsav, then the Chinchpokli Ganesha Mandal. These are some of the famous Ganpati Utsav Mandal, Sarvajanik Mandal basically, where we see that thousands of come every year to take the glimpse and take darshan of Ganpati Bappa. And even this year also we have seen the same situation since morning. Today being the first day, and after just few hours of installing the Ganesh idol, basically on the very first day, as per the rituals, there's a puja. After puja, we have seen that the Ganpati idol is installed at the places, and then the darshan starts. And darshan in the morning started in the morning at 7 o'clock. Almost all the major Ganesha Mandal in Mumbai, and since then we have seen a long queue outside the Ganesha Mandal. And what we have been told by these mandal that this summer and also like every year, thousands of people will now come here, will take a darshan of their beloved God here. And that's the reason special arrangements have been done by these Sarvajanik Ganesha Mandal, be it installing CCTV footages at the Sarvajanik Pandal or by the Traffic Police Authority have also been deployed at a very nook and corner so that there is smooth passageway for the commuters who want to take a darshan of the Bappa across Mumbai and Maharashtra as well. In terms of number, if you ask, nearly 40,000 police personnel have been deployed in Mumbai basically for this 10-day long festival. And if you look at the entire the cities basically have also colored in the Ganesh Bappa's colored here. So obviously one important thing that I want to tell you here is that like I was telling you the Sarvajanik Ganesha Mandal that we talk about, this year also the various Ganesha Mandal have taken a different theme here, because Mumbai is known for this Ganesha Mandal, and like every year they try to give a social message. This time around also we have seen here that this Ganesha Mandal is trying to enlighten people about the various facts and the social issues, and try to evoke their thoughts also on these issues, whether it's the environment also or this current political situation, the socio-political situation in the country. These Ganesha Mandal create such a kind of decorations in the Sarvajanik Pandal so that people get the message. Likewise, in Mumbai's Lal Bagh Mandal, where I'm standing right now, we have seen here that the Chandrayaan basically decoration have been erupted here. We have seen a big screen basically which shows that how the ISRO is working, how the space agency now space operations going on in the country. People get the information about it. So this kind of message that every Ganesha Mandal try to give.
All right, Shishir. So interesting themes there, marking Ganesh Chaturthi. Thank you so much for joining us with that overall update from Mumbai. Let's talk of international updates now. Hurricane Dorian unleashed catastrophic conditions as it slammed into the northern Bahamas, lashing the low-lying island chain with devastating winds to the speed of 295 kilometers per hour, and that is the most intense in its modern history. The monster Category 5 storm made landfall at Elbow Cay in the Abaco Islands with winds gusting over 220 meters per hour. And more than a dozen flights were cancelled after thousands of protesters blocked routes to Hong Kong's airport. The protest seen as an aftermath of an intense altercation between police and protesters after the city police stormed a mass transit railway train carriage and hit people with batons a day earlier. Also, following the clashes, two of the busiest subway stations in Hong Kong remained closed. Hong Kong police arrested 63 people in connection with charges of criminal damage, possession of offensive weapons and holding illegal assembly. 9 people were killed at a resort in the Philippines' city of Calamba in a small plane crash. The plane crashed at Laguna province, carrying 9 people on board. All of them have been declared dead by the authorities. Now, according to witnesses, the plane plummeted and exploded after failing to gain altitude. On the Lebanese border, amidst an uneasy calm, Israel and Hezbollah exchanged fire after a week of rising tensions. Although no casualties have been reported, UN officials called for immediate restraint in the region. The attacks were reported by Israel's military after an anti-tank missile was fired from Lebanon towards the Israeli village Avivim on the border. After an altercation, Lebanon's Prime Minister Saad Hariri contacted senior US and French officials to intervene into the matter in order to maintain peace in the region. Both Israel and Hezbollah, the Lebanese Shiite movement backed by Iran, were having tensions since last few weeks. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres arrived at Mangini in Beni in the Democratic Republic of Congo on Sunday to visit and interact with Ebola survivors. North Kivu and Ituri are regarded as the hardest hit by the disease, with accessibility and insecurity posing a great challenge in containing the spread of Ebola. Guterres toured some of the recovery facilities and expressed his admiration for the community coping with the threat of the disease. It is Congo's 10th Ebola outbreak, but it is the first in the densely forested hillside provinces of North Kivu and Ituri, where militia-led violence and ethnic killings have undermined security in certain areas for decades now. Up next, it's time to get you updates from the world of business. Anshul is joining us with Finance World.
Well, thank you very much, Preeti. And today is the first trading day session. That's Monday. Let's have a look at those news which are making headlines in the world of business. And first of all, we are going to talk about the income tax return. Yes, the income tax department has made history with the highest ever jump in the e-filing of income tax returns. An all-time high of 49,29,121 ITRs were filed in single day on August 31st. CBDT said the peak filing rate per second on August 31st was at 196 ITRs. This has perhaps created a history as the tax administration nowhere in the world has achieved such huge online e-filing ITRs in a single day, and that too so smoothly. Now, SBI Card will soon launch RuPay credit cards, a development which will give a boost to the homegrown payment network in the fast-growing segment. RuPay is the first of its kind domestic debit and credit card payment network of India, developed by NPCI. As of now, RuPay cards are accepted only in few countries, including Singapore and Bhutan. Prime Minister Narendra Modi recently launched this card in UAE. Union Minister for Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Nitin Gadkari announces the decision to use tiny earthen pots or kulhar for serving tea at around 400 railway stations across the country to promote traditional small industries. MSME has discussed with the Railway Ministry that the use of earthen pots in order to provide employment opportunities to pottery workers. The government has decided to increase the import duty on incense sticks by 30% to benefit the domestic producers. And that's all we have in this edition of Finance World. Back to more updates to Preeti.
All right, thank you, Anshul, for joining us with Finance World. After finance, it's time to get you sports updates. In cricket, Hanuma Vihari Ajinkya Rahane took India closer to a series sweep with an unbeaten 111-run stand, helping the visitors set an improbable 468-run target for the West Indies on day 3 of the second test in Kingston. The in-form Rahane at 64 not out and Vihari at 53 not out got India's second innings back on track after the top 4 were dismissed for 57 runs. The 5th wicket partnership allowed India to declare at 168 for 4, giving their bowlers 13 overs to have a crack on the struggling West Indies batsmen. The West Indies were 45 for 2 at stumps, and with their batsmen showing very little application in the series, the hosts are unlikely to get anywhere close to the massive target. Interestingly, India had decided against enforcing the follow-on despite gaining a 299-run lead by bowling out the West Indies for 117 an hour into the morning session. Asian Games gold medalist Jinson Johnson bettered his own 1500 meters national record while clinching a silver in the ISTAF Berlin event on Sunday. Johnson clocked 3 minutes 35.24 seconds to finish second behind Joshua Thompson of United States at the Olympic Stadium in Berlin. With his own national record shattering effort, Jinson also qualified for the World Championships to be held in Doha from September 28 to October 6th. The World Championships qualifying time is 33 minutes 36 seconds. ISTAF Berlin is part of the IAAF World Challenge meetings, the second tier of the global one-day athletics event. It is the penultimate leg of the IAAF World Challenge meetings this year. And up next, it's time to get you what all has been printed in the papers here in Delhi. It's time for the press review. First, we'll pick up The Hindu. The Hindu's lead story says Assam to move Supreme Court for NRC re-verification in select districts. Yesterday, we saw the NRC was published. Technical flaws may have caused exclusion of Bengali Hindu refugees, says the minister. Also, it carries a picture of villagers taking printouts of the documents to prove their citizenship in Moregaon district on Saturday. With that, we'll pick up the next paper, which talks of India querying Pakistan's Kashmir pitch at Malé. The Pioneer has the report, and it says, in a heated exchange at South Asian Speakers Summit, Delhi asked Islamabad to end support to terror. With that, I'll pick up the Pink paper. The Pink paper talks of an exclusive story. It says Fairfax to invest $5 billion more in India in the next 5 years. The Pink paper also talks of the positivity. It says billionaire Canadian businessman Prem Vatsa has talked of how India is the #1 country in the world for investors. The government has said that they want investment in oil and gas, and Canada is a big oil and gas producer, and he says that we will look at all of that. Moreover, India contributes nearly 3% of the world's GDP, but has only 1% share of the global investment money, is also being highlighted by the paper. The Hindustan Times talks of another story. It says Ujjwala target met early, scope of program may be widened. The scheme is likely to achieve the target of giving free gas connections to 80 million households 6 months before the deadline. So that was it in the press review. Up next, we'll take a look at the events which made this day, the 2nd of September, special in history.
On this day in 1666, the Great Fire of London broke out and burned for 3 days, destroying 10,000 buildings, including St. Paul's Cathedral. In 1941, on this day, Indian actress Sadhana Sivadasani was born in Pakistan's Karachi. She was one of the top actresses in the 1960s and early 1970s, a period regarded as Bollywood's golden era. On this day in 1945, Japanese instrument of surrender was signed by Japanese Foreign Minister Mamoru Shimetsuru and accepted aboard the United States Navy battleship USS Missouri in Tokyo Bay, effectively ending World War II. In 1946, on this day, the interim government of India was formed under leadership of Jawaharlal Nehru, who served as the Vice President of the Viceroy's Executive Council with the powers of a Prime Minister. It remained in place until 15th August 1947. On this day in 1970, Vivekananda Rock Memorial at Kanyakumari was inaugurated by President V.V. Giri.
Up next, we'll take a look at the events planned for today.
Defence Minister Rajnath Singh to embark on a 5-day visit to Japan and Republic of Korea to ramp up bilateral strategic ties. As part of his visit to Japan, Defence Minister will co-chair the annual Defence Ministerial Dialogue with his counterpart Takeshi Iwaya of Japan. During his visit, Defence Minister will also call on Prime Minister of Japan Shinzo Abe. Birla Institute of Technological Museum in Kolkata to host a 3-day film festival on space in collaboration with National Geographic in honor of Chandrayaan2 moon landing mission. 200 additional foreigners tribunals scheduled to start functioning across Assam, where bona fide citizens whose names do not figure in the final NRC can approach to challenge their exclusion. BJP President and Home Minister Amit Shah to participate in Bharatiya Janata Party's Sampark Abhiyan on Article 370 in New Delhi.
Time now for the health segment. Up next in health, we'll tell you about how following Ayurvedic remedies can help you boost your immunity in the monsoon season.
The risk of being exposed to multiple viruses, bacteria and other infections is much higher during the monsoon than in any other season. The high moisture content in the air enables the harmful organisms to thrive, resulting in the transmission of number of diseases.
Mostly the people are suffering from a viral infection these days and some other bacterial infection also. And in case of some skin problem, fungal infections are very common here. In these days, dizziness, sleeplessness, indigestion, hyperacidity and burning sensation are very common. And other thing is due to provocation of bath, joint problems and constipation is very common. So we should not allow some foods in our diet, in our regular diet, which will increase pitta or bath. There are some certain foods which will help you. The one is khichdi, some herbs like giloy, Tinospora cordifolia. This will protect your body. When you are going outside, you must keep some drugs with you, just like sunti, that is dry ginger, that will help also.
Unhygienic conditions and not adhering to basic preventive measures further add on to this risk. Many of these monsoon diseases remain undiagnosed until they affect a major health aspect negatively. Ayurvedic measures prove effective in building the immunity and keep away the diseases during this rainy season.
As per Ayurvedic concept, your food must be very clean and it should be covered up and cooked properly. And when you are taking your food, you must assure that it is devoid of any kind of dry substances and made up with proper oil and ghee. Sattu should not be taken these days, and chach or lassi you can take, this curd water you can take in this season. And other things, if you are taking some oily food, it should not be taken in too much of quantity. It should be in a limited quantity, and salt to be restricted these days. And those foods which are aggravating the pitta, it should not be taken. We have to keep ourselves very safe, very clean, and our surroundings too. We never allow water to clog here. And second thing, if you are wet with the rains, you must have to clean, you must have to dry up your body.
Early diagnosis and few basic preventive and hygiene measures can help you be safe during the season. Try on to some Ayurvedic remedies and keep healthy during the monsoon months. Kiran Bhardwaj, DD News.
And up next, a roundup on the weather from across the country.